What's up everyone? Recently I took a motorbike trip down to the Mekong Delta, and one of the things I loved the most about it was just how diverse of a place it is. Like, I would be driving down a road and within the span of 5 minutes I would see temples in Chinese, in Vietnamese, in Khmer, and they all had their own unique styles to it. It's just a place that is very ethnically and religiously diverse. You know, I would see Chams, Khmers, Chinese, Vietnamese, Muslims, Catholics, Buddhists, Gaudaists, and they're all just coexisting with each other. But the thing is, how did this place get so diverse? Well, that's what I want to get into today, so let's do it up. The Mekong Delta used to be a part of Cambodia, a part of the Khmer Kingdom. But during the 17th century, the Khmer royal court were having their own internal problems. This led to a split among the royal family, with one side being aided by Siam, also known as Thailand, and the other being supported by the Nguyen Vietnamese. This began the first presence of Vietnamese in the Mekong Delta, as one of the Khmer kings sought help from the Vietnamese in order to fight back against the encroachment of the other Khmer faction that was backed by Siam. Vietnamese soldiers began being settled in modern-day Saigon. By the end of the 18th century, the Nguyen lords had acquired all of the Mekong Delta, through waging little wars and conflicts with the Khmer. This expansion into the Mekong Delta was aided by the Chinese. Specifically, in the late 17th century, over 3,000 Ming naval troops and their families escaped the Qing regime up north and came to Vietnam. The Nguyen lords had them settle into the Mekong Delta, specifically places like My Tho and Sap Chang. They helped the Vietnamese fight against the Khmers. During my trip was one of the first times I've ever seen Muslims in Vietnam, and those that primarily follow Islam are the Chams. They also follow Hinduism. Now, after the Vietnamese conquered the last part of the Cham territory in Binh Thuận, those that followed Islam migrated away to either Cambodia or the Central Highlands, and those that practiced Hinduism stayed in Binh Thuận. Now, I didn't get the chance to film any churches, but there are definitely a good amount of Catholic churches scattered around the Mekong Delta. And the reason for this is because South Vietnam / the Mekong Delta was the only area that was under true colonization of the French, which explains the larger influence of French customs down here. As for the Buddhists, Vietnamese, Chinese, Khmers have all practiced a form of Buddhism for centuries now, and with their settlement came the religion of Buddhism. And finally, Gaudaisim. Gaudaisim originated in 1925 in an area not too far from the Mekong Delta. It originated in Tây Ninh. I recently took a trip out there, so I'll explain more about that in another video. The Nguyen lords' expansion south and their economy that was reliant on international trade created a mentality of open-mindedness, and this helped in their interaction with foreign people and creating this space of diversity.